destruction of the Jews. And only one other thought. It says that all of a sudden, pachad, fear overcame all these 127 countries. With all this millions of people, all of a sudden a fear overcame these people. Because of the Jew, they were afraid now of the Jew. Give us a break. How many Jews were there? Whole empire began to fear the Jew. Why? And who started this? The Jews? The Jews were going around saying, we are somebody? No. A little Mordecai, and then a little Daniel. And what they were doing created this fear into all of these people. Why? And it says pachad twice, just to make it sure. Pachad, when they befell all of these people. And the answer is that's simple too. Unlike what is happening now, I saw the headlines in the Israeli newspaper. So it struck me. Pachad ba'aretz. It says there's fear in the land. Everyone is terrorized. Everyone has fear that you have. The country never felt that. Even in time of war. And I was there in the 67 war and in the 73 war. I'm not talking about the two of us, but even though everyone ran into the shelters, and of course you remember.
Remember?
No, shelter I don't run. Shelter I don't avoid because. But we had to send Suri down. Do you remember? We had to send it down because the people want to know why the children are being kept upstairs. Maybe these two people are crazy, but the children, how do we not? So out of the comments that people would have about us, so we sent them into the shelters. There's a pachad there, and so I'm saying not only the two of us, but there was no pachad. People were even when they were the sirens went off on Yom Kippur, and people were worried and they ran into the miklat. But there wasn't a fear that they're helpless. Nobody felt helpless. Only felt that maybe a rocket can come. Huh?
They were running around with radios in the street.
Yes, just to know what's going on. But it wasn't. This headline read two words, Pachad Ba'aretz. Never in the history since the establishment of the state of Israel does it say the word Pachad. The whole nation all of a sudden has a Pachad. And here it was the reverse. Here, who's the Pachad from? The Hamas are the minority. Not even, you don't even call them a minority. They're a handful of people. They're not the Palestinians. It's a handful of people. And here you have this great nation of Israel that wins wars against insurmountable odds and so on. Pachad ba'aretz. It struck me that on Purim, it should say Pachad ba'aretz. The one day, the headlines scream, fear in this country. Fear. And yet, we open up the Megillah, and I'm telling you what I read. 127 countries had fear. From whom?
Can I ask a question? It says that they wanted to kill Haman and they wanted to kill his sons. They wanted to erase Amalek. But after they did that, why did they go around from country, city to city and kill people?
Right. That's a
why
good
did
question.
They kill people?
I had the same question. All right. But meanwhile, they had this fear, and they walked around killing people.
Why?
How many you think went around killing people? I mean, how many Jews were there? They're just this one little country.
They killed thousands and thousands.
It said thousands. Yes.
Why?
They had fear. But why did they put up a resistance? 127 countries can't put up a resistance against a couple of people?
600,000.
Here it's the reverse. For a couple of people, they got fear. The same, except the tables are turned. The same fear they had for a couple of people.
600,000 Jews.
In Purim, today on Purim, the tables have turned. The whole country fears a couple of people. What is that telling us? What is it telling us? Me, if I thought anything would be revealing this year, that was the most revealing thing that has taken place. Other things have happened in a very negative way this year that never happened before. Certainly the assassination of Rabin. I mean, assassination. By whom? By whom? By a Jew. By a Jew. By a Jew. What does that mean? What it means is so simple. So simple. That power is not in numbers. Power is not in numbers. What they had, Purim, they had what I said last night, they had this unity, and they had the Zohar. They didn't have the physical Zohar yet. That would take another 400 years. That would take another 400 years. But what they had was the teachings that Mordechai and Daniel brought back, the teachings of the Zohar. This brought fear over 127 nations. We had the Zohar. I wouldn't say sometimes we were a little uncomfortable, but 3 o'clock in Shechem, and if you know Shechem, because of what happened with Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, when she was seduced, let's say, in Shechem, right?
She was raped.
Since that time, then they killed out, and then Shimon and Levi had all the males circumcised under the pretense that they would marry each other, and then what did they do? They killed out all the males. In other words, they knew at the third day after Brit Milah, the person is very weak, and they knew they couldn't stand up against them. They killed out every male. And since that time, Shechem was known as the city of murder.
Sorry. Okay.
Mazal tov.
Sorry.
Mazal bracha. Only bracha.
Wow.
That's the more.
Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry.
I have to apologize. Anyway, I mean, this is the kind of city, and yet we would go with the two kids sometimes 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, wake up the Arab God to open up Yosef Atzadik for us because we didn't want to miss him on the way home.
We should sit there, put the kids up.
Right, 3 o'clock in the morning, in the city of murderers. And go wake up the Arab. He should please open up the door for us. And when we came there, like Mashiach just walked in. What I want to say that today, I'm telling you, today it happened. The fear does not come with numbers. Fear came on Purim, over 127 nations. Fear. We know that. I'll repeat it because we've got to get this into our heads. We've got a power not to have to fear. In 23 years, a Jew in Tunis was never seen. I'm going to repeat it. 23 years, nobody saw a Jew in the street. Not talking about a Jew with a kippah. Not talking about a Jew like this. I'm talking a Jew never walked in the street in Tunis. The 2,000 Jews that were left in Tunis never were seen in the street. When they had to go somewhere, they went in the car. They would not walk in the street. 23 years. And then we arrived with, of course, my army of 10 Frenchies, right?
Frenchies.
And then on the plane... And on the plane, we're discussing whether the others are going to wear a kippah, because after all, if they wear a kippah, they'll look Jewish. Then they all said together, if the Rav is gone with a kippah.